Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Friday the 6th of December. I do apologize, I wasn't online yesterday, didn't do any videos, there were some unforeseen occurrences, but now I'm back up and running and I am independent now. So there will be lots of changes in the coming weeks. But let's just start with the basic and go with S&P 500. S&P 500 closed yesterday just above 5,501, as you can see here, just a couple of cents above, and that is the key support in this area here that is likely to be tested the next couple of days. As we speak, we are actually trading lower, as we can see here on the US 500 CFD that is being tested at the moment. The 38.2 retracement 5,438, just above that. So I think when we open here later today, we could break that key support. Nasdaq 100 that is already in a bearish trend. We have it's still holding on above 18,907 3 days in a row, but it could also most likely trade lower later today. But let's see about it. Currently we are indicated about 1% lower. On the European market, the EUROSTOXX 50 is trading also lower this morning. Oops, sorry about that. We are below the 4,812 level. And very close to test T40 threshold on the RSI, and that will be key. If it does close below, well, then there are lower levels in store for EUROSTOXX 50, and that could spell some trouble. We're already below the cloud. We are below 55 moving average. We are below basically everything, so it looks quite heavy at the moment. We could see a little bit correction, maybe where it tries to get back above 48.12, but it will probably just be a short relief. We have the DAX index also trading a little bit lower today. Not as bad as the EUROSTOXX 50 and not as bad as some of the other indices we're going to have a look at the moment. We have key support at 18,236. It is not being tested, we know not there yet, but it looks fairly heavy. However, RSI is still positive and still no divergence on the RSI either. So it does indicate we could see it bounce back and make new highs, but I don't believe it because we still have this bearish engulfing top and reversal pattern in place, and we have this gap that needs to be closed. So that I think that would be a bit of a struggle. Moving on to the Amsterdam index, that is also lower today after slipping below the 900 level. Next is around 873, and currently RSI is below the 40 threshold, meaning we are currently in negative sentiment. CAC40 also quite heavy actually. Closed yesterday below 74.64. That has been a key level, and the next one is 7,370. That should be observed, and then 7,300. Finally, on the Swiss market, we have the Swiss market that also sold off yesterday and actually closed just below the upper part of this gap area here, and that will be key here the next couple of days. It did test the 11,928, which is the lower part of the gap area, the lower boundary. So this area will be key. Can it close above for a little bit of rebound, or will it close below, and then we are likely to see lower levels on the SMI 20. Euro dollar has bounced from the 38.2 retracement at 110.40. It did dip below a couple of times, especially here at the on the third, but now it has bounced, and I think we will see it bouncing further in the coming days and weeks. And just add a little bit of a Fibonacci there, as you can see. Well, it is currently taking back about 50% of the correction, and I think we'll see it move up to the 61.8 fairly shortly at the just around 111.40. And if we're looking at the weekly, it's really clear to see what's actually is going on. We have the weekly chart after it broke. Oops, sorry. There we are. It broke out of this triangle pattern, shoot up, then a correction, and now it seems to be pushing higher again, and we are in an uptrend also on the medium term. Moving on to the euro sterling. chart that is, and it's a little bit slow by my internet connection this morning. I do apologize about that. I hope you can live with it. I will make sure that it will be improved in the future. But we have Euro Sterling bouncing from 84 little bit. Let's see if it can actually hold on or it will break below 84. 84 is the key support. It has not been convincing in its bounce up to the 38.2 retracement, and that will be quite a bit of a struggle. The cable or sterling dollar also bounced, and that was even before we got down to the 38.2 retracement at 130.40. And let's see if that can actually follow through and take out the peak here at 132.66. If it does, well, then there are much higher levels in store, but there's still a little bit of risk that it will turn around and then make a correction down to the 130.40. So keep an eye on the lows there if it's taken out. The yen pairs are really on the move once again, you can argue, or again and again. New lower close actually yesterday, and it is also fighting for it today. And the next support, well, we are talking about 140.25. If we are looking at the weekly chart, we can see that right there. It is actually pushing lower towards 140.25. So really heavy on dollar yen, and I expect that target to be reached within a few, well, maybe sometime next week or something. It is really heavy at the moment. Also, euro yen lower, as you can see. Likely to push towards 157.30, which is the low area here back from August, but we are also likely to push lower on that one. There's currently no divergence on the RSI on the daily chart and on the weekly chart, so we are likely to push lower on euro yen after it broke the support at 160. Also moving on to the Aussie yen. Aussie yen 150 and 30, Aussie yen after breaking the 97.25. It is fighting for it, but I think we will also see lower levels on Aussie yen going into next week. Coming up in next week around 93.65, 93.85, where we have the 61.8 retracement, and we also have a little bit of support from the sell-off there back in August. So quite heavy for that one also. The only one that's holding on just a little bit is sterling yen, as you can see here, 188.20. Support still holding. It has dipped below, and currently we are trading just around it. So it is fighting for its life, but I think it will start moving lower again. And if it takes out the lows from today at 187.25, then expect a sell-off down to around 183, 182.5 in this range here. At least we should see that, where we see that range being moved down there. We can also see we are negative sentiment on the RSI, and it is in also below the 40 threshold. Moving on to Aussie dollar, still holding on above 67. It dipped below, but it did close above, and now we can see maybe it's starting to move back a little bit. If it moves back above 67.60, then I think we will see it resuming uptrend. Dollar Canada, well, it did correct somewhat. It did actually it did a 38.2 correction of the last leg down here, but of the entire leg it didn't really correct much. That was very minimal to up to 135.50, and now it's resuming downtrend. And if it takes out, which I believe it will, at 134.40, well, then we are likely to see lower levels. Moving on to Swiss franc, that is also really on the move, and I think we will see a strengthening of the Swiss franc in the coming weeks. We can see it retraced 38.2 to 94.45, 94.50, and now we can then remove this because it's taking out, or it's trading around the support here, or the lows here at 93.55. I think we will see at Euro Swiss to push lower towards a 93 in the coming weeks, and possibly also lower. And we have dollar Swiss that is pushing lower, and currently testing the, let's just get rid of this one. You can see that it actually was rejected at the 38.2 retracement of this downtrend here. So we actually have now, it's testing the 84 level. And what is interesting, if we look at the a little bit longer term chart on dollar Swiss, we can see that it does look really heavy, and there is room lower towards the levels here back from Q1 or December, was it, just around 83.30. If it takes out that, well, then we are talking about a 78 level, but that's a little bit longer out in the future, and let's cross that bridge when we get to there, and let's see. On the dollar index, that was rejected at the 21 moving average and the 50% retracement of this downtrend here, and now resumed downtrend again, and could push lower towards the 100 spot 40. And if your dollar also makes new highs above on new peaks above 112, well, then expect the 100 level to be taking out. Moving on to gold, and gold actually just a few cents from the minor support and dip down here at 24.70, so really key level, and could test the previous peak here at 25.32, just below that. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 25.50, 2600. Silver has also been bouncing a bit after touching the 61.8 retracement at 27.87, dipping in a little bit below, and now we are back to test the, well, we have the 55 and the 100 moving average, so it's still being held in check here in this region. I still believe it will crawl higher, but I need confirmation, and I still haven't got that. First of all, we need to get back above the 100 moving average. We also need to get back above the cloud, and especially $30. We need to get back up here 30 spot 20, and that will be key for further upside potential. If it takes out the lows here from a few days ago at the third at 27.70, then expect a sell-off down to around 27 and these lows here. So it is a little bit indecisive at the moment. RSI is not giving much help. And when we're talking about metals, we of course also have to look at copper, and copper is trading just around the 412. It dipped below, formed a kind of a bottom reversal pattern, just above the 61.8 retracement at 407.25. I still wanted to see it move higher above the 431.85 for any meaningful upside potential. For now, it is struggling really, and RSI is still negative sentiment. It didn't close above 40, and it is still currently below 200 moving average. So I will be on the sideline a little bit here, because I'm a little bit I need some more detailed or more solid signals, and if it takes out yesterday's lows at 400 and 420, well, then expect a push below 400. Moving on to the oil market, and as we talked about the other day, and we have looked at it for quite some time, it actually broke out here a couple of days ago, bearish out of the triangle-like pattern that both of the crude oil contracts, they were forming, as you can see here, these symmetrical triangle pattern, and it also took out these supports here, and now we are very close to test the next support at 67.70 here on the WTI, but I think we could see a push down to 64, maybe even down to 62 area. More or less the same picture, or a similar picture on the Brent. You can see it's already testing its 72.29 support, and I think it will push lower towards the 69.90, and maybe also even lower than that. That is in the card after this breakout here. Finally, on the US Treasury yields, as we can see, it is selling off too, and now I'll keep both the daily and the weekly chart on here. You can see, well, we have the The US 10-year pushing to below here, the 370 close to testing the falling trend line. It's not a strong trend line anyway, so I think we will see a test of 365, which is that little spike down there back in early August. If it takes out that, well, then there are lower levels in store. And for now, well, one can only hope, if you are looking for higher yields, that it will bounce from there, and we will probably see a little bit of correction, but we are in a downtrend. All right, that's all for me for today. And remember, this is only for educational purposes only. I hope you like my videos. There will be more improvements in the coming weeks, where I will split it up in playlists with different asset categories and so on. So thank you very much and have a nice weekend.